Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare. Today to talk about why you should play Sorare, which I feel like is a question we all probably know the answer to, but we question it quite a lot. And so we're going to go through exactly why we should play Sorare. I hate to say like we should, like I'm forcing you to, but there's going to be a little bit of an exercise that we're all going to go through later. Probably not much later. And I need everyone to have an open mind with it. And I'm not going to be all that convincing. It's not my job to be convincing of you to play, but I just want us to take a step back and look at Sorare, maybe in a way that we haven't looked at it in a while or at all. And it's probably going to bother some people who have been here for a while. I'm one of those people who've been here for a while. And we are going to talk about the game. So we're going to do that. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Pico Player first in. Rude, good evening to you. And Stefan on the podium. Way to be. Tuggy is forced. Forced? I think actually that is correct. Surfula, hello. Mikey Baston in the house. Sorare Cumry, thanks for coming in. The real question is, why wouldn't you play Sorare? Sorare Malta, great question. Shaforkle, hello. Ryan Dino, not Sorare related, but do you still find it awkward making the thumbnail images of yourself, or is it fully normal now? I think it could be normal and awkward at the same time. I don't put the effort in that I probably should in terms of making myself look dumber and dumber, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Mikey Basson, it's Friday, it's 5 p.m., it's Laird o'clock. Appreciate that. Chani Sports, seems like this show is aimed at people not playing Sorare. I guess I'm the target group now. So Chani, I'm actually glad you're here because I'm glad you're here. That'll help. Rikamon said, can't watch live, even though you're right here, as I'm trying to get my head around our house, Denmark. Get my head around it. Okay. Sorare Soul, what's up? Just Mike it. How wrong am I for looking Sorare as a financial investment from here on out? That's a good question, Mike. And I think we'll get in. No, I don't think we'll get into it. We will get into that because I think a lot of people have forgotten why they got into Sorare. Ahmed, hello. Fraxi, it must have been fate. I'm just on time. Love to see it. David, Javik, Richard Krychek, the legend. Speaking of legends, so legendary here. Matty Adore, Markalele. Love when Mark pops in. Grem, what's up? Hatling in. Sorare is great. That's why. Rico, I'm trying not to get lost. Let's see. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, Mike. No need to try the awkwardness when it just comes naturally. And Sorare Strats, great video by Sorare Strats over on their YouTube channel. Go check that out. I think, I can't remember if I replied to it or if I quote tweeted it. Surface hello. I didn't put it on Blue Sky. I'm not there yet. Still working through that one. Thank you to everybody for coming in. So the point of today's show is not to tell everyone who has played the game for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years that they're wrong in how they're thinking, because I don't think they are. But I think we just need to take a different perspective, maybe just today. Maybe today you just take a break from complaining about classic competitions and prize pools. And I appreciate that I'm telling you to do this as if I haven't been doing it for the last however long time. But let's really look at what Sorare as a game is now and see if we like it. So we, as experienced Sorare players, know all the intricacies of Sorare. And we know that it can be a very simple game while also being extremely complicated. It's not as simple as buy 5 cards, play them, win, move on. We know that there are little intricacies like essence and XP and collection bonuses and jersey mints and special editions and playing down scarcities and what the hell scarcities even mean. And when we are somebody who is joining a platform, we don't know the intricacies because you're new, and that's okay. And I don't think anybody in any game like knows all of the rules and all of the little details when they start. And that's okay, because part of joining a platform that is a game or playing a game is learning as you go on. Not just learning the rules, but learning how to get better and the mistakes that you make and learning from those mistakes. And if you're somebody who joined Sorare and had immediate success, which I remember there was somebody recently who did somewhat within the last year, that like literally their first lineup they won. I think it was Bundesliga for some reason, their first pro lineup. But that doesn't usually happen. Usually you kind of grind and learn the game a little bit. But I wanted to look at what you would consider right now if you were not involved in Sorare at all, and somebody came to you and presented a game that was Sorare, and they gave you kind of the basics. Because when you're talking to somebody about a new game, meaning new to them, you're not going to go into all the little details, because if they're not interested, then it doesn't matter. You've wasted your time. But if they are interested, then they will figure those things out. And obviously with your help. And so a few months ago, PSU fans 2 and I were talking about whether we would play Sorare if we had never joined when we did. And the answer was, of course. The tricky thing about at least Sean's response, and I probably have the same one, is that we would probably only play limited and rare. And both of us play super rare. Sean plays unique, classic at least. And there was kind of this community response to like, oh my gosh, if they wouldn't do the same thing as they did when they joined 4 years ago, like, why should I do that? And I don't think that there's much value in doing that, because like, who knows what we would have actually done. But at the surface, if you were selling this game if somebody came to you with a fantasy football game, now, obviously you would have to have some knowledge of football or fantasy sports, maybe fantasy football, maybe you've played FPL, but I don't think anybody with zero exposure to any of those things would be somebody that would have Sorare presented to them. So you at least have to have some kind of basis of, yes, I know what fantasy sports are. I probably know about FPL or I'm really into football. And so somebody comes to you and they say, so there's this new game called Sorare. And in this game, you buy player cards. They're like digital cards, which are officially licensed, which means they're like the real players and the real teams. And they're not just like a cartoon and a fake name. This is all real as JPEGs can be. And you use these cards to enter competitions to win cash. Is that of interest to you? And knowing myself, the answer is, yeah, that sounds fun. And I don't even think the idea of ownership, not that it matters, but I don't think that's one of the first questions. And so it's like, yeah, you can play Premier League. If you're really into FPL, like they have Premier League contests where you just buy these cards and then you enter their Premier League contests and you can win cash. And the way the game works is when you start out, you're in the lowest division and you kind of have to like work your way up. And the kind of beginner one is Division 5. And then you have to finish in the top whatever percent in a game week to get to Division 4, and you just keep doing that. And when you get to Division 1, the prizes are actually pretty big. And you can win cash in the lower divisions, but it's not that big. You have to work your way up to the good ones. And you can buy as many cards as you want. You can have up to 3 lineups, and you just go through the season. So they have the Premier League, they have Bundesliga, they have La Liga, they have all of the big 5 European leagues. So you can do those 3 with Ligue 1 and Serie A. And they even have like smaller competitions, which, have leagues from the Netherlands and Turkey and Denmark. And then they have even another one where it's like, if you really like go deep, Argentina and Japan and Croatia. It's cool. And the whole game works the same way. You start out lowest division, work your way up. And even if you don't win cash, they even have these things called reward boxes where you win these, basically a piece of a card, and you have to accumulate enough of these things called essence from these reward boxes. And you can actually win cards that way, not just cash, but like the cards. So you don't even have to buy more cards to play. You can win the cards and then use those cards to win cash. And at the end of the season, hopefully you've won more money than you bought your cards for, or you have more cards because you've been winning this essence stuff from the reward boxes. And then next season, you just do it all over again. And hopefully like you make enough money in the first season that you can like afford the cards for the second season. But it actually, what's really cool is that you keep your cards after the season, and you can enter these other competitions where you can win cards. Like you can win like the new season cards. So you're actually using like your 20, 24, 25 cards to win 25, 26 cards. And you can use those to win cash. So you don't even need to always just buy new cards. You can actually like use your old cards to win the new ones. So maybe you win a few, you buy some, but then you can win a few more. And if you like play the Premier League competition, then you're going to win Premier League cards for the next season. And you should just kind of keep doing that. And the other cool thing is like, you can actually sell your cards. So if there's like a card that let's say you're a big Man United fan, right? And you win a Mo Salah and you're just like, I can't have this card in my lineups. I bleed for Man United, and I couldn't possibly let a Liverpool player in my lineups. And you can just sell it. And the money that you get from that sale can go right back to your bank account, or you can just use it to buy more cards. And there will be some people who kind of think about the player cards, because I've had this happen to me in real life. The cards are digital and they're on the blockchain. Like there will be people that ask that, because just like if you talk to enough people, somebody is bound to know that on the blockchain. They're like, oh, cool, they're on the blockchain. Which one? And you're like, oh, it's on Ethereum. And you're like, huh? And it's like, actually, if you're really into like crypto, instead of cash, they'll actually give you the ETH equivalent of that cash amount. So you could even come in and buy all your cards in cash, and then the rewards that you get could be in ETH. So you can actually like accumulate ETH just from your cards playing fantasy football. Is that a game you'd be interested in? Because it sounds pretty cool to me. That's a game I would sign up to play. Let's go back to the chat. Agent Cooper said, so I apologize. This is like 9 minutes ago. So I'm sure there's I said something wrong, whatever it was. But anyway, Agent Cooper said, you should play in-season Sorare. You probably shouldn't play Classic unless you like a lottery-style competition where you could win, but probably won't. At least that's my experience. Sora Cumry said, I play Sorare because I love collecting and following careers and having an interest in games all over the world. Rob said, I love playing Contender personally. I love learning new players and teams I've never heard of, and following them as they progress, in their careers. A lot of them are young kids and go on to do better things. It's great. I agree. That's a huge part of it. Just Mike had said, my Sorare data subscription ran out. I am now tasting it without all the benefits. It's actually 100 times better with the benefits. Everyone should try it at least once. Amen, Mike. Amen. Mike said there were always intricacies within Sorare. It's just that they've changed as time has passed. Sure. Mike said, my first question would be, how much does it cost? Then how much could I win? And those are great questions. Like, those are exactly the questions that you should ask, because that means you are interested in this kind of game. Nobody asks the follow-up, how much does it cost, if you're not actually interested in the concept. The concept, I think, is great. Just Mike gets in, Sorare Cymru's in, let's go. Rob said, I'm thinking about buying more cards after this speech. Bald Sherlock, sounds great. Can't wait to enter the version of the game where I don't even have to buy those cards. No card entry for the UK and France is the best. Yeah, but you can't choose your cards. Alex said, tell me what happens when a player is on the bench or out of the game. I don't think that's one of your first questions. Cooper said, owning elite cards and being in Division 1 is probably the most exciting part of Sorare, as there's a lot at stake, with big prizes. The majority of us, however, are scraping it out in D3 for not much. That's not true. The majority is not in D3. It's probably D2 and D3. Mark said the selling point of winning ETH was a lot more appealing when the prizes were a lot higher. But Mark, if you are new here, you don't know that. You don't know that the prizes used to be a lot higher. Like, if you're somebody who is joining the game today, and I tell you that for next weekend, because we're on an international break, that the top prize in limited for the Prem is $1,500. That's pretty good for a lot of people. And you get to do that basically, you have that opportunity every week. Now, I know you're not in Division 1 every week, all of that. I think this idea of starting in Division 5 and working your way up to the better prizes makes a lot of sense, and makes a lot of sense to new people who never experienced Sorare without divisions. Yes, I'm brand new. Let me work my way up is a very, very common concept in loads of games. And Fraxi said, it does indeed sound like a great game, but what happens if you don't manage to win back some amount of money? So Fraxi, not everybody wins. Not everybody can win in every game. So there will be people who buy cards and don't win that money back. And at the end of the season, they can play Classic, or they can learn why they didn't succeed and try again next season. Oh, look at this. Red or Dead. One Andy Robertson, sold him and reinvested into United players. Ryan Dino said, I don't think anyone is doubting the concept. It's great. I completely disagree with you there. I disagree with that nobody's doubting it. The implementation is where problems arise. With these prices, I'd love to be joining today. What about the implementation, if you were joining today, is a problem? This is like the really important part for a lot of us who have been here a while. That if the game is presented to you today, would you be interested? And I think the overwhelming majority of people who are experienced users and went through all of this junk that we're going through as old users would absolutely sign up for today's game. Now, that doesn't mean you need, I'm telling you to ignore everything that's happened over the last however long you've been on the platform, because you can't. Mentally, nobody can really do that. But the constant talk about the problems of the platform are not problems if you started today. Can we at least agree on that? Now, everybody's be like, oh, well, Classic's so much harder and people won't realize until they start playing it. And it's like, that's something you need to learn in this game. And the more you play, the more you think you hear about collection bonuses and XP and like, wait, why does that guy's card have 17% and mine only has 12? Like those are things that you learn as you play the game. These are not things that you would know from day one. None of us knew that from day one. And as much as people want to say like, oh, I really went through all the rules, like nobody knows everything when they start. So Malta said it's 100 times easier now to get people to join than it was 2 years ago, especially for low budget players. The entry point is very low. You could build a few teams for under 100 euros. I disagree that it's 100 times easier to get new people to play. I think the game is easier to understand now. But 2 years ago, maybe it's actually longer. Maybe it is, I mean, November 2022, where price is still up. I don't even want to look. There was a time where Sorare was easy to get people to join because you were like, hey, buy this $50 thing and it'll be $1,000 in 3 weeks. Just Mike, it said, I love Sorare and everyone that has played it does. It's just extremely hard to win, and seeing your gallery value down kills it. Seems like if you are good at the game, you will enjoy it. So again, I completely sympathize with you, Mike. Like I'll show you my own gallery value history, because I don't want anybody to sit here and be like, oh, well, it's because he got in early and has all this stuff. Anybody with a star membership can see this stuff. Most people keep these hidden. I don't. But like at one point, my gallery was valued at like $120,000. Wait, here we go. This is the one. Yeah. 123, 24, 124, 550. It's not that. It's not worth that now. So like I'm on your team of experiencing significant gallery value loss. But again, looking at the game today, I think the game right now is better than it's ever been. More so for new users, theoretically. But we also have the gigantic advantage of experience. We know how to play this game. We know how to take advantage of every little piece of the game to put us ahead of anyone who's new. Mark said, I got into Sorare thinking it would be good potential financial investment. I think anyone who got in pre-Gary V boom has the same opinion about Sorare being a financial investment. So I think there is a difference between being a financial investment and playing a game to win money. And I think there's a big difference between those two things. And I think that there were too many people who looked at it as an investment as opposed to a game where you could win money. And when you came in and had the idea that it was an investment and didn't focus on what you could make from those cards, meaning what you could yield from the game, it was not an investment. And it sounds weird that like I'm saying yield is different than an investment, but the idea of investing in something is buying it and having that item be worth more in the future. Whereas in Sorare, the point, like the primary point of the cards was to yield from them. Any sort of asset accumulation was secondary. And not to say that it like cards, like the reason a lot of us early users had success is because we got that asset appreciation and sold. But the game has always been about yielding from your cards. And that concept, I think, is very different than investing. Just Mike said, I've learned that playing the calendar, 5 next games, really makes it easier and more budget friendly. Stop thinking career long or season long. Totally agree with you. Rikamon said, I think I would have a panic attack without Sorare data. Well, we're here. Shaforkle said, I always support Sorare, but yesterday I had experience which made me rethink. I needed some cash and I offered a classic Madison, Sun, and Javi to bots, and 4 of them didn't even send me an offer. Why is that? Why does that take away your support for Sorare? Alex said, I would say for FPL players, it is very much one of their first questions. Is that how much does it cost? Which I think is an extremely valuable question. Mark said, that being said, I think it could be a financial investment through smart trading and not by focusing on competing in SO5. I think that's harder. For a long time, we said trading was better than SO5, and I'm just not. Now, with in-season competition, I completely disagree with it now. But Keith and I have been saying that for a while, that like trading might actually not be. I think it was Keith. Novelty, it's a new name for me. Hello. I've played Sorare for years. For years, and you're just getting into the live chat now? Sorry. But it's so confusing for new players. In-season classic and most of the comps you have to search out. Nothing is very visible. I think it's confusing because we're used to what we were used to. Not everyone comes into the game playing everything. Like if you've been around for years, I'm guessing you have a ton of cards and so you look around. But like when you go to Sorare and you like if you play FPL and you're like, I'm going to try Premier League on Sorare. Like Pro, I'm going to have to skip a game week because it's a stupid international break. But you go into the new one, Syria. Again, I think this discover new competition should be the default, but it's not. But whatever. And like here's Prem like right here. Enter. Go. All the info you need, the prize pools. They should also default this Division 1. Maybe default it to your own division. Like, I can win $1,500 this weekend for playing FPL. Once I'm in Division 1. Die Gamer Sock said, I guess seeing the gallery value constantly decreasing kills the sentiment for most people. Here's a tip. Gallery. Sentiment saved. Again, like to go back to this, the gallery value, people who focus on gallery value are obviously looking at this as an investment because all they see is I bought this asset and I want to sell it for more. And this does not show you what you've won from your gallery. Now, the idea is like, if you win cards, those should push your gallery value up. But if you are playing in season and you're playing cash, that does not show up in your gallery on Sorare data. We don't have your cash balances. Daniel said the point of the game is to select the players who play best. The player not being on the pitch means they played awfully. You should be punished for lining up those players. Player not being on the... Is that a DNP thing? Ollie Y said the market is dead. I mean, we're seeing transactions all the time. I bought 5 cards this week. Classics. Maybe not all classics. No, 2 classics, sorry. Rob said, people don't like it, but it does make sense. If a brand new football team joined the league structure, they don't go in at the top. They have to be promoted several times. The idea of promotion, got to prove yourself amongst the best in order to be the best. D1 is where the best should be. Like, that's the point. Like, I don't think that's a foreign idea, not even for people who follow football. Like, obviously, promotion and relegation is a very understandable concept for people who are into football. But I think moving up divisions or ranking levels, whatever you call it, that is very standard in tons of games. Work your way up to the top, and then you can compete for like the best prizes. The best part, honestly, is that You can win prizes on your way up. You don't have to wait until you're at the top to win prizes. There are prizes all the way up. Are they as big as the top? No, because you're not at the top. But every single step, you could win cash or reward boxes. I didn't even get into the fact that they occasionally have contests where you could go play five-a-side with Zidane, or you can win signed jerseys from whatever teams. Play at Anfield, this annual once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, where are you playing fantasy football where you can win cash and also maybe be able to play at Anfield on the field? Alex said it still probably annoys a lot of people, even if it makes sense. I don't know if it does. If you're talking about promotion relegation. Serpula said, I totally understand folks' frustration with parts of the game, but there's definitely sections of the community who get hung up on those frustrations and ignore how fun this can be. Exactly. And I'm not here to tell you, meaning those people who are frustrated, that they shouldn't be frustrated. Because all they see is their card values going down that were supposed to go up. I don't know who told them they would always go up, but they believe this. And then when they do win rewards, maybe they don't get good ones. Like, that's been covered this week. I'm not doing it again. But Sorare as a platform is not going back to where it was. And I think that there are absolutely members of this community who won't say that, like, who won't admit that they know that. So they're going to keep trying. But it's not happening. So look at the game as it is. If you were joining today, would you play this game? And if the answer is yes, there are a lot of things you could do to your existing gallery to make you more effective at winning. We have years of experience in this game. Like, we know how to navigate every little part of this game. And that's a tremendous advantage against people who are just joining. And they'll catch up because they always do. At some point, there's no more to learn. Strategies and whatever, like, you can always get more of that. But in terms of, like, knowing all of the rules and the intricacies, like, we are going to beat people who have similar lineups to us because we have more collection bonus, because we knew to do that and they didn't. But they'll learn as they move up. Mark said, I wouldn't be interested because ETH is increasing in value, but all the Sorare cards are losing value. But Mark, you are not buying Sorare cards to have those appreciate. You are using those cards to win ETH. Like, that's the prize is ETH. You joined Sorare because you could win ETH. That was the point. You can still win. It is easier now to win ETH than it was when we joined. And you can say, like, no. When we joined, it was easy. 205, 250 threshold, like, that was it. But, like, for most of us, that's all we won. And now the opportunity to win hundreds or thousands of dollars each game week is real. And that is way more than threshold. And we can take all of those prizes in ETH. Fraxi said, today I would be interested, but paying for card prices a few months ago, not compared to today's prices. Of course they don't compare. You've had months to win cash or ETH. Why should they be the same? Mark said, if I wanted something fun to play, which I could make money, I'd consider it, but investment-wise, it'd be a no. I don't think this is an investment. I think Sorare is and always has been a platform, a game where you could win money. The investment part of it was basically Gary Vee, and that's it. Like, it's been years since we've seen cards like definitely increase because somebody did something. Like, everybody talks about the like falling card prices as if card prices have stopped going up yesterday. It's been years. And the point of it is that you need to look at what you have won with your cards. Survey said so much community energy is devoted to trying to fix things rather than play what is in front of us. So, Surf, it's not even fixing things, it's just going back to where we were. Mark said it's also not so fun playing limited, which is very hard to win prizes with. Mark, do you even play limited? How do you know it's hard? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I mean, it is hard. Yeah. Nobody's saying this game is easy. Mike said, if you did start today, how soon do you think you might feel there are problems? I think if you joined based on what I said earlier, I struggle to see where the problems align. Because everything that I said was like, you buy your cards for this season, you play this season. Next year, you can play them in Classic, or you can buy new cards. Hopefully, you won enough to fund your cards. Like, I don't know how much you worry about card values at all. Because really, what you should be focusing on is how much you're returning from your cards. How much cash or ETH did I win? Did I win more than the amount of money I put into these cards? Like, that is the point of this whole game. Like, that's how you know you're good at this game. I spent this much and I won this much. If the second is bigger than the first, congratulations. And if it's not, figure out where you went wrong and try to be more competitive. But there are plenty of people who could spend $1,000 on cards in all the early access cards. Maybe they get some free ones because that's a cool thing that they'll learn about. And they go through the entire season and they win $300. And their $1,000 cards now are worth $100. Let's be like dramatic about it. Did you enjoy it enough to go back? And if the answer is no, like, that's cool. But also you can still keep playing Classic. Like, you have the cards. Just keep playing. And then you're like, man, it was fun kind of like working my way up and getting to Division 1, and things didn't quite go my way. I was only a few points away from like really hitting it big. I only likely need to win once to pay back all of the cards that I bought. And there are people who are like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'll do that again. And there are others who are like, no, I'm not good at this game. I don't like it. I'm done. And that's fine. Like, the almost like the worst thing about the Gary V boom and the subsequent after that of like card prices always going up. And again, it wasn't always, it ended. But the biggest problem is that people who thought they were good at the game, but were actually very bad, didn't know that. And so there are people who had significant accumulation on the cards that they bought, and they sold them for like absurd prices. I'm one of them. And for years have not yielded from the cards in their gallery. And they go back and I'm like, man, this game used to be so much better because I bought this one card for $100 once and I sold it for $5,000. And now I can't do that and the game's dead. And it's like, well, the point, like, the game is set up that you buy these cards to enter into competitions to win. Previously was cards, and there was some cash. And now the point is to use those cards to win cash. And everyone who saw these huge accumulation of value in their cards and were not good at the game then are now at this point where they're like, man, I don't even know how to win cash now because my cards don't win cash. Like they've actually been bad at the game for years. But it's only their card values that they thought would go up forever, and they started going down. And then they were like, well, if they're going down and I'm not winning cash, what am I like? And now it's the platform's fault. Mark said, maybe it's because I've been around for so long that I remember it being easier to win prizes. So Mark, it was definitely easier. But the problem is that for a long time on Sorare, there was this talk of like, when we get to 1 million users, when we get the Prem, the 1 million users would come in and all of our card values would go up because there would be too many users. The demand would be so much higher than the supply. And the opposite happened, mostly because the users we haven't gotten 1 million users. They got the Prem. And the problem, the one thing that we kind of ignored, not even ignored, because there's definitely multiple videos on this channel from years ago that are like, do we realize that there are a finite number of rewards that they can give away? And this was basically the start of the talk of progress bar. But like, if we had 1 million users, they don't have enough cards to give away for rewards. And not only that, at some point, if you get 1 million users, you're going to get whatever percentage of it, which will end up being a lot of people who are very, very good at the game. And that alone would make it harder to win. So yes, Mark, like it was easier to win when there were 1,000 people on the platform, 2,000 or 10,000, 20,000. We have way more now. So you're competing against more people. And a lot of those people who were new since we joined are good at the game, are very good at the game. Alex said, I think Rivals needs another push for new players. It's very stagnant at the moment. So I'm glad you brought Rivals up, Alex, because none of my pitch to a new person includes Rivals. None. And now granted, that probably comes from me as like knowing where, like my own background. Like I played DFS. I think anybody who played like poker, like anybody who has played like money games, you wouldn't tell them to play Rivals. Now, Rivals, I think, is a great game and should be like a way that they get people to know about Sorare. But like selling the game, selling like what Sorare is and what it has to offer, I just skip Rivals. Die Gamer Sock said, if 90% of the cards are worth the minimum, this would be a negative sentiment for me of joining new. What do you mean if they're worth the minimum? Because not every card can be like most, like even most like trading cards are worth close to nothing. Can you remind me if this is Scoot or Skate? I couldn't remember. Is it Scoot, Skate? Sorry. I started when prizes were crazy, but no one to give me advice. Fast forward to today, I'm still down 4K euro, and I would still be interested to join now. Like you're down 4K euro, like the value of your cards, and how much have you won since then? Surface said, agree that people should play. The game is great, but one problem today is that 15 minutes of close examination shows massive asset degradation for most of the last 3 years. We will always disagree on this. So what Surface and I disagree on this is I don't think people who are new to the game care what card prices were 2 years ago. And Surface 100% disagrees with me that if you are coming into this game and want to play it seriously, you would go back and be like, oh, what did these cards used to trade for? And when you saw that Mbappe, a rare Mbappe was $25,000 at one point and now is 1,000, not even. That's a huge red flag. And I think if the way that I presented the game to you was how the game is presented to you, you don't look back. Because or you say, how much has that $25,000 Mbappe won? And if you go back, it may have won a lot. Like, let's see. We can do that. If we go back 2 years. Actually, hold on. Can I do by year here? Let's go. I get 2021 Mbappe, 11,000, 17,000, 20,000. Here we go. This is Zima Blue, so there's probably no rewards. Oh, all right. So this was a $25,000 Mbappe at some point. They held that card too long. I sell my gallery. Oh, wait, 5,000. That's too low. Sorry. Oh, no, that's what the last person paid. So like this card had 21,000 in rewards at the time. That's one card. I guess the way that I look at it is I don't think card value, like this asset degradation, I don't think is part of the equation of whether you should play this game or not. Because it's not about accumulating cards and selling them for more than you got them for. It's accumulating cards to win cash. Can I win back more than I've played? Paid, excuse me. Like that's the selling point, right? Novelty said a turnoff for a lot of players, new and old, limited, for example, is that the rewards are often 50p to 20 pounds, excuse me, with only stars being worth much more. It seems so hard to get anything decent now. There is nowhere on the platform where you can win 50p in cash. Cameron said, Sorare is not an investment. Kerniko said, definitely not investing, let's be honest. It was just madness back then. It made no sense. Like there was a significant amount of time on Sorare where nothing made sense. And nobody cared. Like if you bought something for $100 and sold it for 1,000, you don't care that it doesn't make sense. You get to win that. You get that money. Like I brought up this example before. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, it's like one of the first cards I bought on the platform, and ended up being significantly important for my entire Sorare journey. I can't believe I just used the word journey for Sorare. Oh, hold on, I think I found it. There we go. I bought a Hussein Awar card for $384, which in itself is crazy. And then I sold it less than a month later. And that's February. That's a short month. Only 28 days in that month. And I sold it for $1,700. That doesn't make sense. Was I going to tell that person, maybe you shouldn't buy this card? Hell no. Give me my ETH. And Sorare was flooded with these types of transactions. And this is where I was like, man, I'm really good at this game. Look at how much I'm selling this card for. When the point of the game was to say, how much can I win with that card? I bet the answer is I won. I won a threshold. Game week 146. I won 146. Let's see how dumb this lineup is. Surely has a common card in it. Oh, it didn't. Look at that. Rakitsky captain. João Felix goal? Oh, so I guess I won $50. Maybe 0.02 at the time. Whatever it was. Madness is what that was. Die Gamersock said, I like your view on Sorare. People should be more positive. The game in general is super fun. I mean, I'm not going to tell people to be positive or negative. And I've been negative, like surely, like this week, yesterday. And it's, yeah, I looked at this show, like literally this one. I want to believe that this is the beginning of me looking at Sorare differently. And I'm not going to be quiet on things that I think are mistakes or being done poorly, because like I still have loads of classic cards that are basically feel like they're just dust right now. But I'm going to spend more of my mental energy on how to win at this game. Playing and beating the game that is in front of me. And I hope everyone comes along for the ride. Cameron said, yield and sell for the same price works. You don't have to make a profit on selling cards so long as you yield a sufficient amount. I mean, or just yield and sell for less. Like it or not sell. Keep it in played in classic. Like the yield is the key part of this game, and it always has been, and it was hidden to us. Maybe we hid it because we were able to sell the cards for so much more. But it was really like, obviously being able to sell the cards was part of it. Own your game. And when you own something, it means you can sell it. Like that's the point of, that's why own your game is important. Not because like, oh yeah, you own it. No. It's because you can sell it. And then somebody else can own it and you get money for that. And there was a extended period of time on Sorare where if you bought something, you could almost guarantee that you could sell it for more later. And there were so many factors that went into that, a ton of which Sorare had nothing to do with. In fact, they had so little to do with it that they couldn't even benefit from it. We did as users. But it's always been a yield game. We just ignored that part because we found a different part that was allowing us to make more money. And then when that dried up, we were like, what the hell? But the yield has always been there. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you can yield just as much on classic cards now as you used to. Like you can't. But that's also not the game anymore. That's not how that's not the best way for you to yield from playing Sorare. The best way to do it is to play in season. And that pisses a lot of people off who bought in with this idea that like you own your cards and you can play them forever and you can win cards and sell them. And guess what? That you can still do that. All of that still exists. Are the cards worth as much now? No. Get over it. That came out like extremely harshly, but I mean it. Like it's time to get over it. All of us complain like this. I've seen so many people are like, as long as they just add cash back to classic, then like people will be happy. And everyone who is upset that there's not like loads of cash in classic will never be happy. And I've seen all these ideas of like, oh, just do this little thing and like put that in classic. And like, do you know how offended you would feel if they were like, okay, we'll do that for classic Challenger Division 1 this week in Super Rare, you can win $38. Like you'd laugh at them and you'd blame them for that, even though it was like your idea. Sorry, I'm getting like very soapboxy now. Agent Cooper said, I think it's a completely different game now. The old days was all about paying £1,000 for a playing goalkeeper and hitting the threshold with K-League players. Now it's all about owning the in-season smashers. You don't even need smashers for in-season. Like, we are lamenting the days where we had to pay £1,000 for anyone who played goalkeeper, and buying K-League players sounds like I'm sounds offensive. Like we're just using that like, oh, who would like people love the K League, but we're buying players that we've never heard of to hit like an arbitrary threshold. And now the point of the game is to buy better players, which no longer cost £1,000 for anybody who breathes and happens to wear goalie gloves. And we have more opportunities to win cash than we ever did. But we want to go back to winning 0.02 ETH a game week because all we had to do was buy 5K league guys and never again. Redder Dead said, I love Sorare. Now watch Bundesliga, MLS, Argentinian Superliga, Brasileiro, and La Liga too. None of which I was interested in before. Still play Rivals, which is great for scouting and fun to play. And Ali said, prices going down, lots of people leaving the game. Surfer said, also, you keep saying the game is better than ever and you don't agree with people who have issues with the divisions, but those people are real and they are affecting current sentiment in some fashion. Actual game, though, is very good right now overall. So I believe the game is better now. Like as a game, it's better now than it's ever been. And I appreciate that there are plenty of people who played the game previously and won more money, and for that or their cards were worth more, and for those reasons don't like the game as much. They're bored, they say. I think it's like, I'm not saying that the people who don't like divisions are not real. Like I know you do not like divisions and they're affecting current sentiment in some fashion. I think people who don't like divisions are the ones who are struggling with it, for sure. Like they're not as like, I think that there are lots of people in this game, and Service, I apologize for like calling you out on it, but you are one of them who has had tremendous success in this game. And now because of divisions, like your upside is capped a bit, right? Because you can't, because if you're not in Division 1 everywhere and then you have your huge week, like Sean complains about this all the time. Like he has like 3 or 4 first places in Division 2 that would have won Division 1, and that caps the way that how much you can win. And I look at it as there are now other people who are able to win, and I think that's healthier for the game. But maybe it's because it makes me more competitive. Because if I'm in Division 1 and you're in Division 2, I don't have to beat you now. Ryan Dino said, am I really 30 minutes behind on the chat? That can't be right. Ryan Dino said, I think that until new users outnumber existing users, the sentiment of losses will remain. Even if it's made to be ridiculously fun, there are always that problem of overcoming that fact. So I agree with you, but I don't think like that almost implies that like every existing user is upset. And you can't. They're not. Just make it the manager charts they're private for everyone. Like we default them to private, but anybody can open theirs up. It's just manager stats, and then there's this little toggle here, make my stats public. It's defaulted to no because we kind of thought most people didn't want that public right away. But so yeah, most people, it's like I can't see anybody's unless they have it public. Novelty said, I watch and lurk a ton, but usually I'm at work, so I don't comment often. No, I love it. Hallian said, that was one of the worst pronunciations of a name I've heard. Which one? Sorry, I'm like really behind now. Oh, that German one. Yeah. Hold on. Let me go back if I can find it. I don't know. I don't even know how else I would. Geimerschock, maybe? I don't know. Sorare Cumry said, when I joined, we didn't know what our gallery value was until Sorare Data made it a feature. No, I don't think that's right. I mean, like, I think we've had that for a long time. And Vice said, I don't understand why people are obsessed with gallery value if they don't plan on selling. So I'll tell you exactly why. Because it's the easiest thing to see to understand your progress. And so, and again, I think that that's a little bit on us, that meaning Sorare data, that I think we can do a better job of showing you what you've yielded from your gallery and your cards. And like the manager stats here tell you this. So like the idea is like you can see exactly how much you've won in cash and ETH on the platform, how much you've bought, how much you've sold, and then basically your gallery valuation, like what your cards are worth now. So like mine here says I have a $20,000 realized loss, which is just my sales versus my purchases. Although that math doesn't see. Oh, and sorry, it's my purchases minus sales and gaming yield. But that doesn't count the fact that I also have supposedly $29,000 worth of cards. So I'm like up overall. And because people don't look at this, they're just like, oh, I'm down because I bought this card for this and now it's worth this. And I think if we did a better job of just showing exactly what people have won. Now, this does not mean that I deposited $167,000 on the platform. I can assure you I'm not remotely close to that. But it's like, hey, if you deposited $1,000, won a card worth $500, and then bought $500 worth of cards, now it looks like you've bought $1,500 worth of cards, but you've actually only deposited $1,000. That's the quick example. Sorare said, I've only been playing for over a year. Maybe that's why I really love it. I don't mind card values dropping. It's all I've known. And to me, it's about winning cash. Cards are my keys to play. Perfect. That's exactly what it is. Like, that's it. Your cards are your entry fees. The best one I ever heard was Quinny years and years ago. Said something like, the goalkeeper is your ticket in. Because a lot of people didn't want to buy him. Salverin said way more factors count into the game, into the value of the game than the gallery. Yeah. Cameron said the fact I can win 3x my gallery value in Division 1 is huge for me, and it keeps me buying and chasing. And Tuggy said investment ended when threshold was gone. See, I disagree with that too. Threshold was not like an investment in the way that we consider an investment. Like even threshold was just a yield generator. Like it's a different type of investment. If you want to call them both investments, one is a yield generating one, and that's what ETH was. And the other one is this idea of asset appreciation, and that doesn't exist anymore. Rob said new players may not know about Sorare data, which is a huge advantage for us older players. Also, we know the profile of it, what makes a good scorer for future scouting, set piece takers, wingers over strikers, etc. Yeah, the more you play, the more experience you're going to have. And the more experience you have, the better you're going to perform against people who don't have that. Daniel said, the limited hate is wild. I love it. It being hard is good. Tuggy said, limited is like playing the lottery. Rare is bingo. Super rare is poker. I disagree that limited is a lottery. Joe said, after winning a high-end card late in the MLS season, I made a trade to fund an in-season lineup and won way more than I traded away, which was a very nice feeling. That's how you yield. That's the perfect way to do it. Joe, did you win this card in a classic competition or did you craft it from Essence 1 and in-season? Oh, Nacho, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Rob said, limited is hard, but it's super affordable. You can build a team for as cheap as 20 pounds. You could definitely go cheaper and have a genuine chance of winning regularly. Reinvest your winnings smart, and you can build a good gallery from 20 pounds. I mean, it's the reason why roads to glory exist. I think it's roads to glory, right? Meaning the plural of road to glory. Tom said, I spent about 1,200 pounds on Prem in-season limited start of the season. I've already made 1,000 pounds back and had a hell of a ride along the way. I mean, winning 1,000 back already is a hell of a ride along the way, I bet. Tom, congratulations. And it's November. The season ends in May. Way to be, Tom. Sorare Cumry said, do you remember me asking during the peak frenzy, shouldn't someone be losing? So I remember somebody asking that. I didn't realize it was you, Sorare Cumry. So good job. Quinny in the house. Trying to get Quinny on next week to talk about the Sorare World Championships idea, which I absolutely love. Tom said he won 760 pounds for finishing second in D1. There hasn't been a single week of Prem in season I haven't won at least 10 pounds. Been incredibly fun. Let's look at Tom's gallery. Yamal, Kimmich, Kane, Musiala, Palmer, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Salah, Marmouche. Fun cards, Tom. Only a couple Prem cards in there, but Cameron said, I don't care what the prices were like in the boom. But Cameron, you would care if you were there. Looking at previous value views the cards as an investment. Hilo said, as a new user, I don't think you care about the actual prices. You should just care about the trends to have an understanding of the game you're playing. Card price trend down, score needed trends up. So I don't think, like, as a new user, you have to care what the prices are because that's what you have to pay to get in. The consideration is more whatever you have to pay. Can I win more than what I have to pay? That's the key. Server said, I like your pitch in general. I think it accurately reflects the game. Why isn't it attracting more users? And what can the team do differently, in your opinion? Ryan said, Service, I'll get to that. Ryan said, which parts of the game are working so well we can put a big tick beside them? I think in-season works exceptionally well. I think early access cards so that we could start playing in-season right away I think they absolutely nailed it. Putting the special edition cards in there and having us open those at another point, like, nailed it. Like, that part is perfect. Surfula said, I think I'd see a game where I could utilize knowing more about football than the layman and win stuff. Right or wrongly, most likely wrongly, I'd always back myself to eventually win enough to not worry about past prices. I don't want to say prices don't matter because obviously they matter, but they matter when you buy. Like, that's when the price matters the most. How much do I have to pay to get this card? If you want to go back and see that it used to be a lot more and try to understand why it was a lot more before, that's fine. And I think for somebody who's new, like, it's November now, and if somebody new comes in and they're like, why did I have to pay? Let me try to pull up an actual, like, why did I have to pay $400? Actually, it was earlier than that. Hold on. This is actually a wild price graph. Yamal. Why did I have to pay $200 for Yamal in August? And I only have to pay $150 now. And the answer is because the person who paid the $200 and whatever dollars in August got to play for cash every single game week until now. And you can't go back in time. You can't buy your card and go back in time and try to win. So they had more opportunities to win cash than you. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And so if I wait 3 more months, it should be cheaper. And you'd be like, yes, probably. But you also can't win anything over the next 3 months if you wait 3 months to buy. Ali said, I think the best strategy is buy and keep your cards, just don't sell. Hilo said the rewards are a must fix. It's so hard to win a card now. Saw someone win a star card that literally is a DNP with multiple floor listings. Absolute shame. Huggy, I did have my spinach and egg white omelet. And I'm not mad. There's no mad. I'm just like, it's time for some reality. Oh, this was on the get over it thing. Sorry. Well, I am really behind on the chat. Sorare Soul said no K-League slander. I wasn't Noah Rupp, star tier, but doesn't sell for 60 cents. I'm guessing this is a contender player. There he is. This guy was a star? Why? Oh, wait, these don't even work anymore. Who won this guy as a star? And when was it? I don't know. Sorry, this has been... You guys are probably like 20 minutes behind this. All right, let me catch up. Agent Cooper said, I wasn't lamenting. I actually prefer it now as I own better and exciting players to watch. Maxime nailed it a year ago when he said Vonnetzek should not be one of the most expensive players on the platform. And Quinny said, I remember the night gallery values came on server data. Wow, how about that? Server said, you're not listening to what we're saying about divisions. The issue isn't that it's about capping how much OG whales can win. The issue is the game mechanics aren't good for various reasons. I don't know what that means. Like what about the game mechanic? The game mechanics aren't good for various reasons. Because I think, I don't want to speak for Sean, but I believe Sean's biggest issue with divisions is that if you score the most points, you don't win the best prize, which is what we used to have. And divisions were implemented, I believe, I don't know this, but I believe divisions were implemented with the goal of allowing more users to win. I think it accomplished that. Oh, I finally caught up on the chat, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what the game mechanics are that newer users hate. Oh, wait, here we go. Noah Rupp is in the U23 prize pool. So did somebody actually win it or he just snuck in? Oh, wait, sorry. Hold on. I wasn't actually showing this. Hold on. Ay. Come on, guys. It was Noah Rupp is in the, let's see. Is this just a Tadic situation? Oh, it is. Yeah. So has somebody actually won this card? Or are we getting really upset just like Tadic? What I think is fine. Yeah. Joe Ducey said, I traded away a rare Serge Gnabry for a limited Messi, Alba, Kalina, and some others, plus a classic Pooch I had, returned 100-ish in 4 weeks plus boxes. Love to see it. I mean, that's sort of the point. But I am curious about what these other game mechanic issues are with divisions. The issue isn't that it's capping how much OG whales can win. The issue, well, it's not just capping OG whales, it's capping everybody. The issue is the game mechanics aren't good for various reasons. Oh, Quinny, someone told me on the live stream of the Sorare data values. It's funny. I don't remember when we did it. Maybe I'll go back on some old videos. Looking at what Sorare data, I mean Sorare too, looking at what they look like years ago is really something. Server said, I agree divisions equals more winners, but the game mechanics are worse, in my opinion. Hard to describe in 160 characters, but it's related to the beats from week in and week out. Constant relegation and promotion not lining up with good matchups is part of it. I don't think that promotion and relegation, how they do it now, is perfect. I do like the idea of kind of like a rolling average each week. Like, I think it's okay to have promotion and relegation every game week. I don't think, and I haven't really dived into this at all, but I do think that promotion and relegation each week based off of a 4-game week average, 8-game week, whatever it is, makes more sense to me. Peter Stoyanov, I think, was the one who told me about some of the issues that, like, the issue with that is you don't really know how close you are from being promoted or relegated as scores come in because it's based on the average. But I actually don't know if it would be that bad. Like, it's a UI thing, and I think they could figure that out. But I think that there's sort of the pushback on relegations are, oh, there you go. So Surface nails it. DMPs have always been a part of Sorare, but injuries in DMPs are much worse now because the value of the cards is so front loaded. See Ter Stegen and Rodri. And then, so basically the idea is like a DMP means you're going to be relegated. So it's like a double whammy. You lose your player, you don't win anything, and you get relegated, which is why I think kind of the some sort of average, or maybe even just like, I was going to say, if you take out, best 3 out of 4 score. I don't know what the solution is. So I agree with you that they could do it differently, but I'm, for the most part, okay. Like, getting relegated, yeah, it's a bummer, particularly when it's completely out of your control, like a player gets hurt. But the rule is there for everybody. It's not like only certain people have to deal with it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah. Peace, Love, Understanding said, the most fun I ever had in Sorare was the Sorare Data League with accumulating scores over the game weeks. So the rolling averages for divisions should be a great change, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it would. I think it's worth Sorare looking into it. Server said, I think a lot of the current game mechanics could be tweaked for sure, willing to give it more time. Sean's issue could be mitigated by a little less top-heavy rewards. I actually don't think Sean is a big proponent for not having top-heavy rewards, and I agree with him in that respect and being able to pay more people. But I actually think he has a bigger issue with the highest scoring lineup does not always win the best reward. And I agree with him there. Like, I think they should maybe even make the top payouts a little lower and have a full first place prize of, like, you beat everyone, here is your bigger reward than everybody else got. And I actually don't think we need to even go beyond that. And if they do like 3 spots, that's it. Get back to like podiums meaning something. If you are one of the top 3 highest scores in the game, maybe those 3 people should win the most money, regardless of what division they're in. Quinny was talking about it on, I don't remember if it was in today's deadline stream or he was on Harry's gallery or lineup building stream yesterday. But he brought up the fact that when who was on his stream, Paul and Momo were on, and they were like, more podiums than ever. And it's like, podiums outside of D1 don't mean anything. Like, you're not winning better prizes than everyone else. It's just everyone else in your division. And there's really nothing special about it. Winning a podium in Division 5 is worse than finishing 30th in Division 1. And so, like, what is the value of the podium? And there's none. Sir said, a rule being the same for everyone has nothing to do with the game mechanic being bad. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I was just kind of pointing out, like, we all have to deal with it. But you're right. I think the DNP, the unforeseen DNP getting you relegated sucks. The risk that went wrong, meaning like a guy was risky to play and you played him anyway, and then you got relegated, like you shouldn't be saved from that. And there's really no way to like differentiate one from the other. But I think there is a difference. Ben said there was absolutely something special about my D3 first place, best moment I've had on the platform. Oh, I mean, like my recent, like I've finished first place in a few recent competitions and they were in D2. And yeah, they're awesome. They feel they're fun, absolutely fun. But also like if I scored more than everyone else, shouldn't I get like a little bit more than just, oh, I beat all, like in Division 2, you have to beat more people than if in your Division 1. And if you outscore everyone from Division 1 and then you don't win the best prize, like it's one of those that like you don't feel bad until you realize that you could have, like if you were in Division 1. And you can make the argument like, well, you needed to be in Division 1. And then whoever you're talking to is like, well, I was, and then I got relegated because of the guy pulled up lame in the warm-up. And then I got relegated, and then I won Division 2. You know, there's always some sort of pushback. But anyway. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Because I've got some real life stuff to go to. Going away for a football tournament this weekend. I'm not playing. It's my kids. And it's another just American #youth sports weekend. So yeah, should be great. But I literally have to pull my kids out early from school in order to drive all the way to this tournament so that I can get there early enough so that my youngest child, who is not playing, doesn't have a total breakdown after being in the car for 3 hours. And we can enjoy a nice family dinner together before being out on the soccer field for 8 hours tomorrow and 8 hours on Sunday. Bad life. Thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to the man Quinny, who I'm really hoping to get on the channel next week. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy the little bit of a break that we get with these international games. Don't take them too seriously. And next week, we'll get back into really taking everything seriously and lamenting every little move that we make and cursing at every DNP and relegation. And we can just get back to true Sorare. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to get your steps in.